Namaste, all my friends, family of yoga and spiritual circles, Yoga Bharati, Disha Bharat, and also Youth for Seva, and all my friends. Greetings on the 75th Independence Day of India. It is 75th year of independence for the political kind of situation. But India is not just limited to the political level, it is much more deeper than that. It is a very culture. It's a very Sanatana Dharma that has come for several thousands of years, more than 10,000 year old. And one of the very important thing about this particular culture is that we have valued the independence, which is known as the idea of freedom, ever since the creation has started. And it is not just only the freedom that political boundaries kind of a thing, but it is the freedom right up to the soul. Therefore, basically, what we need to understand is that this independence we have to recognize as we are celebrating the value of the independence itself. So we value the independence, that is what is the idea. And we have seen that kind of a thing situation in Ramayana, Mahabharata, everywhere that you come across that kind of a thing. Like, for example, Rama, he killed Vali because that he was an evil person, and then he gave the kingdom to Sugriva. He did not annex it. The same thing, he killed Ravan, but at the same time that he made uh, Bhishana as the caretaker government and all that continued there, gave the freedom. So the why it is given like that, why it is like that, it is basically to see that the freedom, independence is given the very important thing. Let me give you two important points from the ancient scriptures about how we value this particular independence. 75th year that we are celebrating this independence of India. So it is very important to recognize the depth of this concept of independence. One thing is that it's not only that my freedom or my country, my this thing, but it is recognizing the independence as the freedom of everybody, everything. And unfortunately, what happens is very easily that we can think that the money that we have, the power that we have, the position that we use it for curbing the freedom of the others. That means to say, I'm looking at all this, I look at all these things as weapons to see that I curtail somebody else's freedom. They will be, I'll be expecting them to subserve. But this is not the idea of freedom. In fact, if I really recognize the emotionally, if I recognize this particular freedom, which means basically that I don't use my power, my position, my knowledge, my wealth, any of these things, I don't use to see that I make somebody a subservient. We are all working together. Each is doing his own work. It has got a respect and his capacity, whatever that is there. And that's how this creation is made out of variety of things. And whatever that anybody else is also nothing but the consciousness. That's why we have the idea of namaste. So I respect you as you are. You respect me as I do. And the work that I do, I respect it. Like the way that I respect the work that you do. So therefore, that we are all together making this earth as a wonderful place. That's why we are together. There is no question of money or power or position making that I am bigger and then you are smaller. The day that I start thinking like that, that means to say I'm not recognizing the independence, I am not recognizing the freedom. So we had the kind of rulers who were supposed to be creating the superiority over the others. So therefore, that we wanted to get rid of that kind of feeling. But unfortunately, what happened, even though that has been done, but the people they have come up from within and who became like the kings, like the lords, they just say replace them. That's not the idea. The idea is to see that everybody feels free, everybody is doing his work, respect the institution, respect the surroundings, so that we will take this dharma forward. The whole idea is to see that we create a situation where dharma is taken forward. That's what is the part of this culture. And that brings me to the second point of this particular independence. What is the independence that we are thinking of? The way that we have said, the highest degree of independence we have thought about is the moksha, is the inner freedom that we are thinking. A very simple level that we would like to free ourselves from is that free from the dependence on the objective world outside, free from the senses that we have. I must get the freedom from my own sense cravings, and from that, I need to come out of it. And this way, when I take to deeper and deeper level, I should have a freedom to think. And not only that, I should have a freedom to not get caught with my own ideas, my own thinking. I should have that freedom. That's why in this particular culture, Sanatana Dharma, we had room for any number of thoughts and ideas that are there, and which we call it as mata. So your own opinions, it is valued, it is taken forward. Ultimately, this whole culture has to give us this idea that deep inside we are the consciousness. That's what is the idea of freedom. The freedom is something which is very precious, very important. For that reason that we are looking at. And somebody who comes to disturb the others, the freedom, when we say, I have a freedom to see that I live comfortably and make others also feel comfortable, not only the human being, but the whole nature, animals, birds, trees, plants, everything, rivers. I make them to have that respect of freedom given to them. And what happens is that anybody coming in the way of somebody's freedom, yes, that's where we need to see that a law and other things will take care of it. So, this way that we recognize the freedom, not only the freedom outside, but the freedom within. And once I get this freedom within, understanding of the freedom from the point of view of free from my own objective world outside, free from the cravings of the sensory organs, free from the mind and intellectual mm, slavery, that ideological slavery, free from all those things, and see that how we can grow. Ultimately, we are the consciousness, and that's what is the degree of freedom. This is what the essence of this particular culture. There are two different worldviews. I always say that. And one worldview is the matter is the base, and out of which that whole thing has come up. The second thing is that the consciousness is the base. So we think that we have the idea, and we have people who realize that idea that we are all nothing but consciousness. Base is consciousness, and only outer changes, outer differences are there. But basically, we are the consciousness, and that consciousness has three important aspects of it. One is called as the freedom, and the second thing is happiness, bliss. The consciousness itself is blissful, and third is the consciousness is the health. This is what is the goal. This is the purpose for which that this Yoga Bharati is constantly standing for. Not only that, we also have this idea of the logo for that is Sahano Bhunaktu, most ancient quotation from the Shanti Mantra that comes from the earliest of the Upanishads. And let us be nourished. In fact, in my being here in this universe for 70, 80, 100 years, whatever it is there, I should be able to see that whoever is that is there, whatever that is there around me, they nourish. So that's why Sahano Bhunaktu is maybe all nourished. And I see that the plants nourish, animals nourish, and the rivers and the mountains, everything. I contribute towards that nourishment. This is what is the way that we do. And what is the way that we can make this nourishment possible is by giving them much more than what I take from them. This is what is the Upanishad mantra, very beautifully written. Oh God, give me that ability to see that I give much more than I take. Jivane yavat adanam syat pradhanam tathothikam. Ityesha prarthana smakam. That's what is the only prayer from me, is that let me give much more than what I take, so that having come here for 70, 80, 100 years, this world will become richer when I leave this. I leave a richer world behind. Let us all unite together. Let us be together, create this fraternity, harmony, and then well being, because the strength and the capacity is in this harmony and then unity. Let's all put together hands, let us join together, and let's be in a humble mood to see that let everything will survive. Let everything be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah. Let's try to see that we create on this 75th of Independence Day occasion. It is just an occasion. Let's use it to see that we remind on this particular journey of ours. Once again, wish you all the best. We will all join together on this Independence Day. Namaste. Thank you.